financial modelling for the business, working out exactly what we needed, because we really wanted that sort of month by month plan.
Yeah.
And I am just so, I'm so in the details of everything. I wanted to know exactly how much money I need to be focused on for each month. Like, it's so important in business to know where you're sitting. That was a big one. Was focusing first and foremost on the financials, then the business plan. What is the business? What are we doing? What's the direction? What's the strategy?
And how far ahead did you plan in your business plan for this one?
We forecast a year.
Okay.
In advance, so working out how much we needed to cover month by month, how much I needed to make, so week by. So I've always got. It's great to always have that number in your head. That week by week, you're going. This is how much I need to be earning to cover X, Y, Z, to break even, to make a profit, things like that. Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Truth on a Pedestal, a podcast solely dedicated to talking about how businesses are started and how brands are built. I'm Justine Malone, Creative Director, Photographer at Malone Co Studio, and your host for Truth on a Pedestal. Today I'm speaking with ChloeMonique from Made to Measure Atelier. Hi Chloe, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
In this amazing space as well.
Thank you.
We are shooting this podcast in ChloeMonique. Could not pass it up. It was so beautiful. And the reason why we have asked Chloe onto the show today is because she has entered a market that is quite new. And I'm really interested to know how you entered it, how you sort of started in a shop, not from home or online. And I want to take people through that brand story.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much for coming in, and so excited to have you guys in here and speak about it a little bit more. Yeah. We've only been open for 2 months, so very, very fresh. But yeah, I guess the whole journey has been quite a long time in the making, I would say, but it probably took us about a year from putting maybe a bit more than a year to put all the pieces in place and really start to get the ball rolling in opening the doors.
Cool. Yeah. So I'm interested, just take me through really briefly how you actually got to the idea. Like, where did you grow up? What was your family dynamic like? Just really briefly, because I find it's important to know how where people come from.
Yeah, totally. I feel like I had a pretty stock standard upbringing. It wasn't too interesting, but I grew up in Melbourne. Yeah. Grew up in Canterbury, and went to school there. Went to PLC for high school. My parents both worked full time their whole lives. My dad's a financial planner and business consultant. My mum was a criminal barrister, so both quite career-focused individuals, and my sister's also a lawyer now, so very much went down that trajectory, and I thought I would probably do the same thing because it all seemed like the right pathway. Did not end up liking any of those careers at all. Yeah, none of them. I think I always had this creative flair, but I didn't really delve into it enough. Yeah, I just kind of put it to the side. I think I was more focused on what's going to be a sustainable career that can make me a certain amount of money, just the very safe options, I think. Yeah.
I mean, coming from a background where your parents had, I guess, safe jobs.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It kind of veered me that way a little bit, not in a negative way, but more that I was really sort of inspired by how hard they worked, and I thought that I could go in a similar direction, but I think things just find you as well, and you can try to push yourself down one path, and then life happens and you get inspired by other things.
So coming out of high school, what was your first venture? As in, what did you study?
Yeah, so I started with commerce law. Yep. Ended up hating it. I realised I hated commerce and I hated law, so I was going to do something else entirely. So then I switched to business marketing, realising I needed a little bit of creativity. Long story short, I went into advertising for nearly 10 years. So client side.
How did that make you feel?
Did not enjoy it, because client side, I mean, you think you're going into this creative industry with advertising, right? But I think unless you go in, and I really didn't know what I wanted to do either. So it was kind of like I landed in this role, client services, instead of going in and trying to go down the more creative path and being a creative in that industry, because I just didn't think that was me at all. So maybe if I'd studied a little bit more in that direction, I probably would have found it to be a different experience. So yeah, I did that for many years, different agencies, and I just did not enjoy it at all.
I lasted 4 months in advertising.
Yep, and this is not uncommon.
And I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
This isn't for me.
Totally. Yeah. And I think I had a former colleague who put it really well, that the whole client services side of the industry can be such a thankless job because the client's always mad at you, your own team's always mad at you, you're just the linchpin to problem solve. So it just wasn't rewarding, and I wasn't really getting anything out of it. It was a little bit soul-sucking for me. So I just hit this point when I got to, I guess COVID hit, and I said, that's my breaking point, like break the circuit there. I'm not going to take another advertising job, because I was sort of contracting, and I'd always been really interested in doing something entrepreneurial. I had these little side businesses and did all these little bits and pieces, but I wasn't really sort of throwing myself into any of them or passionate about any of them. Like I was like, I want to do something, I'm not sure what it is, like I'll always give it a go. And I love just turning an idea into reality, so I'll just execute it, but it was just, I wasn't really in it for those. I
guess coming from a background of the secure paid job,
totally,
entrepreneurial,
and so I always kind of wanted to have my own business and just venture down that path. And then so COVID hit, and I said, that's it, I'm not taking another job, I'm going to try a different industry altogether. And then I took a role with Oscar Hunt, who are a menswear made to measure brand, and they're Australia wide now. They've got showrooms in most states. And it was just completely sidestepping what I'd done, and it was just so different. So I went in as their national sales director. So it's similar to having that client service role. It was still kind of, a similar set of skills, but totally different industry.
You're in a business,
that's
not
it.
working for a whole bunch of other people's businesses.
Completely, and so just delved into that. I loved the industry, I loved the job, loved the team, had a great time, and then just progressed through with them, learnt a lot from them. And then they had women's wear as a startup, and I ended up running that and loving it, and it was great. And then I just saw this huge opportunity for creating my own brand out of it, and they were incredibly supportive of that. So
what was you're working with somebody else's brand as a female area startup. How do you, I'm assuming that's where the idea came. Did you, when was that moment?
Completely.
That you decided to?
Well, I think it was because I sort of did everything in the startup with Oscar Hunt. Like it was all me. We didn't have the resources to have other people involved in the women's wear side of the business. The view was, as it grows, then we could take more people on. But there was something really beneficial in that because I completely had to be on the ground. So seeing clients, managing everything, just managing the whole business, and the data points you got from seeing the clients was incredible. And that for me was the real moment of realizing how big of a gap it was. That women, when they would come in for a fitting, were just so surprised at this whole process, and that they could get these garments that fit them perfectly. Like the smallest things, I'm like, what do you mean you can take the sleeves up to actually fit me properly? That's amazing. Just little things like that, and realizing that they'd just been sort of suffering through the ready-to-wear
put up
template.
And women's fashion is so much bigger than men's fashion, and there's so many men that gets tailored. We're like, oh, the men do that. And then they have a perfectly fitted garment.
Yet we don't. And I think because it was always sort of made to measure has been associated with just suits, which I'm trying to get away from with this brand, because my big focus is product. So yes, we do your classic two-piece suit, but there's so much more we can do with the looks, with the styles, with made to measure in general. So I'm trying to get to a point where we do the full product suite. So you could build out your entire wardrobe made to measure.
Like a capsule wardrobe and very timeless.
Exactly, and that is the focus. Like I've definitely gone for that Parisian minimalist style, because we are very timeless, and you're investing in the garment, you're not investing in a trend. And as much as trends have their place, I just don't think when you buy luxury, you want to be buying something that's going to last you one season in terms of the look and appeal. So very much focused on that.
So breaking into a male-dominated industry, you don't have male and female here. So what was your brand idea behind that, and how do you know it was strong enough?
That's an interesting point. I think what it was really about was not necessarily taking it from a male-dominated industry. It was more educating women on this being a need, on this being something that they could treat in the same way that they treat how they shop ready to wear. This could be a normal part of their wardrobe. A normal way to shop is just shopping for garments that fit them beautifully and custom styles that you can't get anywhere else. They're creating something from scratch from the best fabrics in the world, and they're not wearing the same print that everyone else has got from a particular brand or so it kind of, I always look at it as a bit of a trilogy of fit, function and fashion with made to measure. So you're getting a beautifully fitting garment.
Yeah.
It's functional for your lifestyle and work and events as well. And then the fashion element is that it is so custom that you can't get it anywhere else. You're not wearing the same thing as everyone. You're coming in, you're selecting the fabric, I'm styling it with you. It's very collaborative. I give a lot of guidance. It is having like a stylist with you. That's the kind of approach I like to take in each appointment. And I've even got clients who bring their stylists in with them to guide the process, which I love doing. So love working with them.
So it's almost like your brand, have you placed it in the market where you have your fast fashion and then you have your premium designer brands?
Yes.
You're kind of placing it above the designer brands because they're so custom and so premium, and it's not even the quality. And I'm assuming that the stitching style, like everything like that, is at the same quality as a high-end brand.
Yes. So I have positioned it as a luxury brand, and that was really important for me with the quality of the fabrics we use, but I also do have an entry-level price point range that is similar to your Scanlan, Theodore, Camilla and Mark pricing. So we can really cater to, I would say, probably a young professional customer who are more inclined to go to those brands, say like a Vic Woods, Camilla and Mark, who do beautiful stuff, but they might want something really well-fitting. I can still offer an amazing range of fabrics to that client, because I also think it's important. Yes, we are a luxury brand and we do have, 100% cashmere and these gorgeous, gorgeous fabrics. But for the younger clients, it's great to nurture them through that journey.
Yeah, when you said introducing entry level, what came to mind was they are already at the stage where they have their brands and that's the everyday.
Yeah.
They are the clients you go, hang on, great brands, but look here. This is your next level.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah,
and it's being able to spend a similar price point, and it's all tailored to you, it's all custom, it's just completely you. Yeah.
So take me through the process of building the brand. You had this idea, you're working in the industry and you have the idea. So what was your first step?
Yes. First step. God, that's actually a tricky one. I feel like I was doing so many things at once.
Yeah.
For us, first of all, was financials. Okay. We had to look at what we needed to actually start the business and for it to be a viable business model. So looking at the financials, we kind of went about it and said, okay, I definitely need a showroom. I need a space because I need to see the client one-on-one. I need to be fitting them in person. It is a very personal business. You're building personal relationships with these clients. So looking for a space was key, working out what we needed to cover that. And then, of course, you have all your inputs for made to measure. The beautiful thing about made to measure is we don't hold stock because we've got our samples, but it's a very sustainable business, not only from this not holding stock standpoint, but environmentally. You only cut the amount of fabric you need for the client. It's not we're producing ranges after ranges and they're sitting
and then
dead
putting
or
it on
going
sale to be able to sell it and clear the storeroom.
So working through financials and then putting together a really solid business plan was important as well, just to know the journey of where we were going, what I wanted the brand to be. So there was that creative side of it, and also making sure we're really strong on the business side of it. And Oscar Hunt, I'm still quite close with them. They're one of my investors, which is great. And we worked very closely because it was really great to get their learnings on the experience, because I've been in the industry for 12 years or so now, and they just have all these learnings on where you should be spending money, where you shouldn't be spending money, and that was just integral to setting up, because it is a hard business to set up had I not had them in terms of logistics and bringing in these suppliers for fabrics and things like that. There is a lot to it.
How did they feel when you told them that you wanted to open your own
They
atelier?
They were
I love saying
really,
that word.
I know, it's a fun word.
Now that I figured out how to say it.
Exactly. They were great. They were so supportive. And
so they didn't feel threatened?
No, not at all. I think just great people. It's, it's hard to find good people. So I feel very fortunate to be sort of in business with them in a way, and feel very supported. And they were amazing, really.
So did you said that you looked at the financials and the business plan. Who is we?
Yes.
Who did you sit down with?
Yeah, so sat down with Oscar Hunt, and also my husband is in finance, thank God. So he was fabulous in doing a lot of modelling for me, like financial modelling for the business, working out exactly what we needed, because we really wanted that sort of month by month plan. And I am just so, I'm so in the details of everything. I wanted to know exactly how much money I need to be focused on for each month. Like, it's so important in business to know where you're sitting. That was a big one. Was focusing first and foremost on the financials, then the business plan. What is the business?
Yeah.
What are we doing? What's the direction? What's the strategy?
And how far ahead did you plan in your business plan for this one?
We forecast a year
Okay.
in advance, so working out how much we needed to cover month by month, how much I needed to make, so week by. So I've always got. It's great to always have that number in your head.
Yeah.
That week by week, you're going. This is how much I need to be earning to cover X, Y, Z, to break even, to make a profit, things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you've got your business plan,
Yes.
your financials in place.
Yes.
What was your next step?
So
what did you need?
Next step was we worked out how much money we needed
Yep.
and realised, okay, we actually need to do a capital raising to be able to cover these expenses and get the business to where we want it to be. I didn't want to start this in a really sort of mediocre way. Not that that's explaining.
You're launching a luxury brand.
That's it.
So, in all honesty, you're launching a luxury brand.
I didn't want to do it halfway.
Yeah.
I wanted to go the full pelt so I could enter the market as a luxury brand, not get there later.
Yeah.
Because I'm a big researcher and I looked at many other brands, and it's much more difficult to climb and to enter a new category. And we've all seen those brands that one market might have fallen in love with them, and then they'll raise their pricing and they forget that market, and then it causes this,
But they've already they've already created a brand, like established their brand in that market.
Yep.
So then, if you're trying to climb into a higher market, that high market's kind
they're
of
not ready for you, then your old customer
yeah.
feels left out and you're in this sort of nomad's land that's very hard to build from. So I just wanted to make sure that I was just strict on the brand and how we entered and
even the
and
location you chose, like you're in a location that a lot of businesses would take years to get into.
Yes,
so,
I do actually feel very lucky with finding this space. And look, a lot of retailers along here need the street front, but because we're appointment only, I think I was fortunate enough to go, well, this level might not be right for a lot of these ready-to-wear brands who need to be able to show the clients straight away.
You don't want people walking in off the street. You're in the middle of a consultation.
That's it. And we do have walk-in hours. So daily we've got walk-ins welcome from 11 a.m. just to browse the collection
and feel the
get
brand.
to know us as well. Like very, very open and welcome to that. But it also, this setting gives our clients this intimate feel that I'm going for and that really luxury atelier entrance.
So how long did it take to raise the capital?
Great question. I feel like
and
it's
who
been
did you
blur.
go? Like, I know you can't speak about your investors or how much you raised. But I guess how long did it take to find them? Take me through the process of how you pitched it to people. How many yeses? How many nos? What's that process like?
I would say it probably took over 6 months, to be honest. When I think about the full length, because it was quite a sort of gradual progression of finding the right people, speaking to them, following up and going through that whole journey. And so we really did start with your friends and family round, which I think is quite typical of capital raising, which most people will go out to who's familiar to them, who might be interested in this. Very supportive doing a friends and family round. And then from there, it was contacts. So getting in touch with people, whether it's someone you know or they know someone, or you really just have to ask.
And did you get a lot of no's?
Yeah, we did get some. And that's all part of it. And it can be a little bit of a stressful part, but then it's also brilliant when you get the yeses.
How do you approach somebody when you're doing capital raise?
So mine were fortunately quite warm leads, so I wasn't necessarily cold pitching anyone. It was sort of like a contact of a contact with an introduction, which was great. But the approach was I had this robust business plan and the financials were very robust and it was being able to explain everything very clearly and you're really telling the investor what they're getting out of it. That's what they want to know. It's like, why do you actually need them? It's actually it's more, and for us it was more than we just need capital from you because the investors we focused on were people who have the networks who could send clients in. So it's like, we actually want you because you're a facilitator to this business, not just because you might be able to provide us with help in
money
capital.
That will then pay you back on.
So we really had more of a profile for the investor and we approached people that I was really inspired by in terms of how they've gone in their own career and the networks they have, and just they provide valuable supportive insight as well. And so it's kind of like having business partners, which is great in a way. So you're tapping into them, they're a great group of people, and getting advice, and so it was, I think thinking about it as more than you just need someone's help on capital is important. It's like, what could they bring to your business that's even more than that?
It's almost like when you go to a job interview, you interview the person. It's like you both actually have to...
You're both interviewing each other.
You're interviewing each other,
And they also needed to have that trust in me that I would be able to bring this to life and pursue the vision and the strategy.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right, so you have your capital, and when you're thinking about the future of the brand, that is in your brand plan.
Yes.
What did you pitch to them?
So we pitched, first of all, opening the first showroom in Melbourne, and we wanted to focus on just getting it up and running. First year is really just a let's see how we go. Because you can't, I think with business, you can't expect to be unbelievable in the first year. So it was keep it sustainable. Let's be sustainable. Let's forecast a safe amount of clients getting through the door each week. Forecast a safe amount of revenue. We weren't trying to be too big in those goals, but be really realistic. And we had some really nice feedback on that. Investors were very happy that we were being very realistic and very honest that this is what we think we're going to be trying to make in the first year. And also having these learnings from Oscar Hunt, they would be able to tell me if something was ridiculous as a goal or quite good, or I should aim a bit higher. So I had these nice markers. And then our next plan is we've said, 5 years time, we would love to open the second showroom in Sydney. So that would be my next goal, is this is our flagship Melbourne, second one in Sydney, and then beyond that, hopefully both of those do remarkably well and I could open globally.
Okay, so the big vision is globally?
Totally. I would love an amazing global brand, and just to be able to bring this to so many different markets would be fantastic. Yeah.
And with your investors, and especially Oscar Hunt, have you been able to learn a lot from them?
Completely.
Have they brought stuff to the table as well?
Absolutely, just so much. I just, even when I have burning questions, it's great having this group that I can turn to and say, well, what do you think? Or, a few of my investors I'll have a call with and say, who in your network do you think you could send in, or I could do an event with, or something like that to get the word out there, and we'll do these calls and they'll throw around ideas with me, and just getting their support and learning from them a lot.
So as much as a lot of people bootstrap their business or do it on their own, it sounds like having investors is actually a safer way to build a brand.
I think it's having the right people.
Are they silent?
They are. They are silent investors. But I sort of get them involved as much as I can too, which is because they're happy to be, which is great. But I think bootstrapping is also important, and I think it's really nice if you can start your own brand and you don't need to go and get that external help. But for me, it's actually been amazingly beneficial, and just for this style of brand, we did need it.
And I know we've gone on with the investors. I just know that a lot of my audience would find this topic very interesting.
Yes, amazing.
Any advice for people if they have an idea and they were to approach investors, like even the way you pitch?
Yes.
What would you give them?
Definitely.
What advice would you give yourself?
First of all, very strong business plan, and really being able to communicate why, first of all, the market needs your business, because an investor is going to be looking for, is this going to be successful? Why is it going to be successful? Because how are they getting a return on investment from it? So I would say get really strong on that. Get really strong on what need you're answering, what problem you're solving, which is key to business, right? But I think it's even more important when you're approaching an investor, because they need that wow moment of, okay, this is why I should be investing in you. It's investing in you as a person and the business. And then, I would say second to that is strong financials and forecasting well, and
So if you don't have a husband who is in financial
planning
and banking,
find a great finance person. If it's not your thing, I think every business needs a fantastic finance person, because I'm constantly, we lean on our accountants and things like that as well within the business to really make sure that we're solid on that.
Our business is about the numbers.
Exactly.
Really.
As much as this is a creative business, you need that foundation, that baseline. So invest in a really great finance person that can just support you, even if it's just in that level to start with of getting your numbers together, and then you can bring someone on, a bookkeeper or something. I think it's really important, because you just need to know what you have and where you're going.
And constant check-ins as well. We kind of get going in the business, and then 6 months in, you look at your financials and you go, oh, something's not
you're off
right.
the budget, or yes, or why are we spending here and not getting return on investment here? Exactly.
I just think generally sticking to a budget is hard.
Yes, I think every business finds that though, that you get very happy to set the budget and things just change.
You're like, but I really want to buy this thing for the business.
Yes,
and I don't want to wait.
Exactly.
And you have to go, no, is it necessary?
So I think reviewing those budgets as often as you can as well is important. Yeah.
All right, and building the space.
Yes.
This is a beautiful space.
Thank you.
And it's been styled gorgeously for your client.
Yes.
Take me through the process. Like, what did this building look like when you moved in, and who did you engage with? Don't have to give me figures, but did it break the bank, or was it worth it? Or is styling, using an interior stylist and decorator, all that kind of stuff, is it affordable for a new business?
Yeah, look, I think it depends with what space you're working with. This is a very large space.
It is large. How many square meters is this?
This is about, great question, I think it's about 180 square meters, so that's quite large. Yeah. And when I found the space, it was formerly a physio and Pilates studio. Okay. So I really do need to do a before and after video to give the full scope of how it looked in comparison. The floors were blue, like blue carpet.
Really?
Still had the kind of like wall mirrors because there were reformers in here. Yeah. A lot of treatment rooms. There was, and it was, you just imagine a big rectangle box really. Yeah. And I came in here and I thought, it's perfect in terms of space and light. But we need to transform it, obviously, to something that is stunning and amazing. And my interior designer, Adrian.
Yeah. Yes. Who did you use for your interior design?
I used Adrian Condina, so he's brilliant. So he has worked in London, worked on some incredible luxury brands. Just his work's fantastic, and I was a big fan. And we just connected really well too. And again, like with the investment of the business, it was really important to me to create this magic space. And he was very good at understanding what our budget was, the kind of space I did want to create. I had a really strong vision for that because my brief to him was, I sculpt these garments around my clients. I want to create curvature and sculpture through this whole showroom because that's the through line of this brand. We're very much, everything's sculpted. It's very much custom art. We have this kind of art infusion in the brand.
So that's where the curve
curvature comes from. Yeah, it is like a little bit
that'll look great. It actually is ingrained in your brand.
That's it. And a lot of what we do, we try to put some curvature into it throughout the brand. So giving that sculptural element and
did you go through a brand strategy or branding process with branding agency?
I did not, and that's given my advertising background. I just picked and chose what I wanted to do for that, because I think when you've worked on that, so you know the background, right? You've worked with all of these different elements of advertising, and so I had a fantastic graphic designer that I used to work with, who has done a lot of branding work. So I kind of built the brand strategy myself. Yeah. And then from there, I briefed Adrian, and it was just bringing all the pieces together.
So when you went to your graphic designer, you had a really robust mood board and vision, fonts.
Yes, I had everything ready to go. I wrote her a full brief, and from there I had all of those elements, had a tone of voice. I really kind of pitched to her what the vision was that I had for the brand. And I said, you take it from here on the visuals, because I really trust her. She is an amazing designer. So she just rolled with it. And we had a call where it was Adrian, her and myself, because Adrian also was really keen to work with her on infusing some of these branding elements. So everything from, the bars painted in our brand, wine colour, the staircase is in the colouring as well, the logo design. We even have this decal on our fitting room wall, which is my brand mark. So the whole thing is just really well branded and really cohesive and quite tastefully done.
I think it's really important that you understood to pair, people don't really pair graphic design with the interior decorator or stylist or visionary. But it is so important, because if the logo has square edges and the interior is curved, it's not going to align.
That's it.
So aligning your brand mark with every single stage of the process is so important.
Definitely.
Which obviously showcases in this stage.
Yeah, and we were just so keen to work together to make sure that was really cohesive, because I think, branding is just consistency.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people forget that, and they want to throw this in and that and make it sparkly and amazing, but it's just have a consistent message and have a consistent way to show it visually, and it can be as simple as that, and you keep communicating that in every touch point, and from there you really start to show people what your brand is about. Yeah.
Now, before the podcast, I did ask you about the cost of branding, but we won't go into the numbers.
Yes.
What is as in with branding, you mentioned it's a running cost still.
Well, that's it. So
the original question was roughly how much would your branding have costed?
Yes.
Cost?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, can't even speak. How much would it have cost?
Yeah.
So explain how that is working in the business at the moment.
Yeah, so it's an interesting one. I think because I did this, I didn't go to an agency and say, I want to do a branding package with you.
Yes.
I was half doing it myself and also had a graphic designer come in and really pull it together for me, the proper branding. So that had its own cost. So that was its own input costs in itself. But then from there doing all the marketing, and then you're adding all these branding elements to make sure the brand is really cohesive. So at the moment it is a bit ongoing. I didn't start with this pack. I actually said, let's start with the key elements, which is the look and feel, the logo. And then from there, I'm going to chip away at what
when
I
you need things.
Yeah, so I didn't do an upfront brand pack where a lot of people, I think as a new business, especially if you don't have a branding advertising background, it's important because you get all the templates, you know how everything should look. It really does give you the full vision. But for me, I mean, Margie, my designer, and I've worked together before, and she's very happy to work with me and start here and go along the journey, and we'll come
just
back.
Just part of the business.
That's
really.
it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So for new business owners, how important would you say a brand strategy is?
I would say it's very important if you don't have that background.
And if you have a business strategy?
Business strategy is important.
Some people have a business strategy or marketing strategy.
Yeah.
But the brand strategy as well is its own separate thing.
Completely, because customers connect with the brand. They don't connect with your business strategy. That's, yours, that's behind the scenes. The brand is what you're front-facing person. So so if you don't invest in that, you're kind of not differentiating yourself at all. So it's important to have that and to really stand out and to stay true to it.
I feel like the brands that don't have a proper brand strategy, they end up looking like copycat brands.
Completely.
Because they just end up
you don't know who you are.
Really influenced by all this beautiful other stuff. And you're like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Whereas with a brand strategy, you almost see the strategy and at the end, you look at everybody else, you're like, oh wow, we are going to be different.
Completely. And I think it's nice to have inspiration that you want to be like, but you don't have to be them. You need your own voice and you need your own brand aesthetic, and you need to connect with customers in your own way.
How do you feel you bring value to your clients? Like what is it about your brand that answers a need?
Yeah, totally. I mean, there's so much to say in Made to Measure because I get so excited about the problems we are solving. But to put it simply, I think we really elevate the confidence of our customer. So we're elevating their existing personal brand by being able to give them this full capsule wardrobe. It's this sort of luxury approach that celebrates them as the individual, as opposed to them sort of fitting a ready-to-wear template model or print pattern, etc.
You've had a really key word in there, personal branding. A lot of business owners, high-level consultants, it's all about personal branding.
Yes.
So it's probably the best thing to do if you want to extend your personal branding is to be custom.
Completely. And I think we all have one. Everyone does. Everyone, they might gravitate to a certain style, certain interests. That's all about who you are as a person, what your personal brand is. So I like to dress to that, to really understand the customer, because this business for me is really about creating personal connections with the customer. We really are their right-hand man in styling and everything, and we have such a concierge service that once you're measured here and we have your measurements on file, we're then sending you images of fabrics. You can just touch base with us at any time. We'll put together a full styling pack for you for anything else you wish to purchase, and then we make the purchases and send the garments straight to the client. So it's creating this whole concierge model for them.
Love it. And how do you balance? You are a new mum.
Yes, I am.
How do you balance?
Yeah.
New business, new mum.
Yeah.
What's your day? look like?
I think I'm still finding it, to be
Yeah.
honest. Like because we've only been open for 2 months,
Yeah.
and I would say every day is different. And I'm very fortunate to have a very supportive husband. So we're day by day working out who is doing what, who's doing what mornings, what evenings, and we've just enlisted a lot of help too, because we realised very quickly how much we needed it. But yeah, it's at the moment it's not worked out totally.
No,
but we're getting there. She's 5 months old.
She's 5 months.
Yeah.
Do you feel mum guilt?
I do.
Yeah. And then business guilt, and then wife
both.
guilt.
Never stops. Like I think you're always feeling like you're lacking in some area, but I do try to remind myself with the business that if I can make this the success that I hope I can, then that will provide a beautiful life for her, and that is all I want for her.
Yeah.
So that's how I try to get myself out of the guilt. Doesn't necessarily work, you know, because it's hard to be away from them.
Yeah. And with inspiration and growth, so who has mostly inspired you? I know that you have your investors, but if you look out into the world, who's your sort of North Star?
I'd say there's a few, because I think I really look up to many different designers too, and I think it's amazing what Zimmerman have done.
Yeah.
Because they built this company from scratch to this $1 billion valuation, sold it for a fortune. They did an incredible job to get it overseas, to just create this brand. I think they've done so well. Same with Tom Ford, similar. I think and because for me, they represent what I would like to, which is this consistent brand, just this consistent message, creating a product that people really fall in love with, and they connect so much with that. They want to keep coming back to you, and just I'd say those few.
Those two.
Yeah.
All right. And any advice that you would give to yourself like 2 years ago?
Oh,
great.
Wait,
about a year you said it's taken?
Yeah, I think I would give myself this advice ongoing, is you just never know what's going to happen. Because I think it's so easy to get so caught up in being impatient in life and just wanting everything to work out immediately, but just knowing that it will all work out.
Yeah.
We're still on a journey, but step by step, like things like, changing industries and like now I feel like I'm in a great place in life and feeling very stable. And I think it's just knowing that you will get there eventually, even if this wasn't the end of the journey, which it isn't, obviously. It's an ongoing journey, but just knowing that there's more to come.
And it sounds so cliche of it's not the destination, it's the journey.
Yeah.
I had because I'm a small business owner, and I had a moment, I'll just call it a moment the other day, and just telling my husband about the moment. Yeah. And he's like, stop. He grabbed me by the shoulders and he took me out to our laundry, and he showed me this artwork that I have in my laundry that I got for my 21st birthday for one of my best friends, and he's an illustrator, and it just, he's 21, so he had written on there, it's not about, it's not the destination, it's the journey. Yeah. Because back when I was 21, that was like the it thing to say. Yeah. And he's like, read that. And I'm like, I read it. I'm like, thank you.
Yes, the reminder.
Just a reminder that at the end of your life, at the end of the days, you're not going to look back at a year ago going, oh, look what I created. You're going to be like, do you remember 20 years ago when that thing happened? Like, that is actually the memories.
And I think that's so it. Like, the piece of advice that I would probably give to myself is just chip away. Keep chipping away and enjoy it while you're chipping away.
Even if enjoy your first space and enjoy your first
event. Because it's so hard to celebrate because you're always trying to push ahead. So it's like, keep chipping away and just celebrate the little wins. I know everyone says that a lot, but I'm learning that. And I think it's a nice way to be.
Well, one more question, or a couple of questions to end.
Yes.
What are you doing to market your business? What have you put in place to, you've been alive for 2 months now?
Yeah, totally. So because this really is a big education business, business development through things like events is actually key for us. Okay. So we at the moment have like a monthly event calendar, try to do events monthly to get people in the store. I'm big on PR at the moment too, so trying to just get the word out through that. Paid advertising, like social media advertising, etc. I actually didn't put that as a front runner for this business because although it does create brand awareness, it was better for me to get in front of the client doing things like events where we get a certain contact to bring a few people or connecting with organisations that I know that is my ideal client. So it's more on the ground what I'm doing, which is just, I have found to be far more beneficial. Paid advertising has its place, but for us, I need to educate the client on what we do. So I need to be in front of them.
And I'm assuming most of your clients are Melbourne because they probably want to come in. So
that's it.
As much as paid advertising is great, are your clients picking up Facebook Marketplace?
Yeah.
Or are they actually getting word of mouth, you need to go to ChloeMonique
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
it.
it's learning where your clients are influenced by.
Yeah, completely. And I also do have an older clientele. Like I've got the young professional and I do have an older clientele who aren't engaged on Instagram and, you know, TikTok and things like that. So
there's a place.
There's a place. Yeah. So for us, it's just more focused on really being in front of the customer at the moment. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
Yes,
I
thank you.
know that the space, what you've created, it is so young, but especially the fact that it's a business that, you know, it started big straight away and you knew that you needed help. I think this is going to be really helpful for a lot of business owners that think, oh, I can't do it, I don't have the money, or it's too big of an idea.
Yes.
So, I really enjoyed hearing your story and the thought behind it as well.
Thank you.
Makes me feel like I need to rewrite a business plan for myself.
Definitely not. I'm sure you've got it all sorted.
Oh my gosh, it changes every minute.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to seeing how this grows.
Amazing.
So we've had great chat with Chloe from ChloeMonique. We haven't actually talked about the
Thank
name.
you for
The
having
brand
me.
name is your name.
It is my first and second name.
First and second name.
That I was very apprehensive to put on the door, but once you put the sign up, you can't take it down.
It is a beautiful name.
Oh, thank you.
I love it.
My mum is loving that feedback at the moment.
I love it.
Yeah.
But no, it is. When you use your own name, you look at it and be like,
terrifying.
I hate it.
It's terrifying. Yeah.
It's easier just to hide behind some other name.
Yeah,
but you'd get sick of it. Like you never get sick of it. But it's a beautiful name, and also the brand will grow past you, and your name will be recognised.
Yes.
So,
let's hope it gets there.
So any last words for any people? Any new people wanting to start a big business that's beyond their mortgage extension?
True. I would say still be conservative. Don't go too crazy. Keep your budget conservative. You don't need to go all out. There are creative, strategic ways to do things. We have actually cut corners that you can't see.
No,
so,
I can't. Well, literally cut into the corners of this place. So well, great. So here with ChloeMonique at Made to Measure, I'm going to say it, Atelier. Made to Measure Atelier with ChloeMonique. So thank you again, and I'm Justine Malone with Truth on a Pedestal.